Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do another short video for you guys. Today we're again going to be talking about SharkyFi, but this time I'm going to give you guys what my broader strategy is. In my previous video, I told you guys that I was making about 5 to 15 SOL a day. And even though I haven't been keeping my Excel sheet up to date, I can honestly say that I've accumulated a decent amount of SOL within the last few months. And when I was lending back in November and December, I was just testing the waters and I wasn't using a large chunk of my capital. But even if we just assume that I made a couple hundred SOL within a month, back in December, you can see that the price was $12. We've doubled since then. So if I've made about double, you can basically times this number by 4. So I've at least made $6,400 over the last month. And that doesn't even include the defaults that I get. For example, I had about 8 or 9 ABC defaults. And so I picked them up around, 20. Some of them I picked up around 15. And I sold them to make about like 5 to 10 SOL each. But if I had kept them, I mean, the ones that I got for 20 SOL or so, I would have netted 180 SOL profits if I sold at the peak. And because I believe quality projects like Tayo are eventually going to hit new highs again, despite getting a lot of defaults over the last couple weeks on the loans that I lent out to people borrowing against their Tayo pilots, I'm just going to go ahead and hold on to most of them for at least a couple months. Now, the downside in that strategy is that I do have some liquidity locked up, but fortunately I was able to buy a decent chunk of SOL around $10 to $12. So I still have a decent amount left over to continue giving loans even at the current prices. And if you look at projects like Tayo pilots and others, whenever something like this comes down about 50% or more, that usually means you're pretty close to a local bottom. So if my thesis plays out and this NFT run continues, there's a good chance that these NFTs are going to go up a lot higher than the amount that I initially loaned out. Just like I gave you guys in that ABC example. I don't know if they're going to go to 200, but I'm definitely going to hold them and aim to make more than 10 to SOL off of each one. And so the way my broader strategy works is that when we're in an up-only market, obviously all the loans or most of the loans will get paid back, minus maybe a couple defaults here and there. And then when I feel like the market's getting a little bit frothy, what I do is I'll separate the loans out. So I won't give the loan out all at once. I'll save my liquidity and then spread the loans out. So that way, if the market tops, at least I didn't loan out all my liquidity right before we saw the price descent. So this way, with the staggered approach, at least most my loans won't be concentrated near the top. So for example, if you did a staggered approach here, sure, you would have ate some losses here because people that are borrowing at these levels, they're not going to be paying back their loans here. So with that staggered approach, sure, I had some NFTs that defaulted around 33 SOL, but it wasn't a significant amount and I still have some liquidity over to continue lending. So in terms of which collections I'm looking to lend out to, I think the Sharks NFT collection will do pretty well in the next few months, even though there's a lot of competition. This is one of the few projects that's actually sharing a portion of the revenue with holders. And they have this gamified method of upgrading NFTs in order to be eligible to get the rev share. So I think that dynamic is going to be interesting and potentially very profitable. So I was giving out some loans around 15 to 16 SOL that I got defaulted on. I plan to keep those. DeGods, it requires a lot of liquidity, but if you have it, I think this is a pretty safe bet. I wouldn't mind picking up another DeGod around 405 SOL if it was defaulted on. ABC, I think, has more upside. And I think now that they've implemented staking, they're probably going to have a very strong floor. And moving forward, I wouldn't be surprised if they became the premier automated market maker on Solana for NFTs. Dualbots is another one that I occasionally lend to. They have a very strong team. They plan to go multi-chain. And throughout the bear market, I noticed that the gambling meta was very strong. Regardless of the downtrend, people were still betting heavily. And so people who own this NFT do get a portion of the revenue. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this continue to make new highs. And the LTV on this one is actually better than a lot of the other ones. Even though the floor price is around 150, 160, people are taking loans at around 100 SOL. SMB is another potentially good one. There's a decent amount of loans being taken out every day, but generally speaking, I usually don't go with these two because they require a lot of liquidity and you have to lock it up for 14 days. But I do it occasionally. For example, if I make decent profits on a flip, I'll go ahead and put that capital to work by loaning out to either Solana Monkey Business or DGods. Utes is one of my more favorite ones. The LTV isn't very good. The floor price is around 124, and most of these loans are going out around 107, 110-ish. So the LTV is basically around like 90%. And if something happens and we see abrupt fall in the price, you'll be left with some Utes. But personally, I don't mind. In fact, I've been accumulating Utes. Also, I picked up a bunch with the defaults, and the defaults mostly were concentrated around 120-ish. And you can see now that the price is 124. So it's roughly around the price where the liquidations happen and I got the defaults. And I think long term, they have a lot of potential. So it's one that I don't mind holding despite it having a high LTV. TaiBots is another one which requires a lot of liquidity, has a long duration. It's not something that I've provided loans to in the past, but I think it's a safe bet. Jelly Rascals is another good one. I have a few loans out for those. Tayo Pilots was where I had the highest concentration of loans because at that time when they came out, the APY was 240%. And like I've told you guys in the past, I like it when the duration is 7 days. And it was really nice because in many cases, the people were paying back the loan in just a couple days. So it allowed me to recycle my liquidity very quickly. And by doing so, I really got to compound my gains. But anyhow, that's my strategy. I loan out to projects I like. I stagger my loans. I don't use all of my liquidity in one day. And if somebody defaults on a project that I really like, and I think it has a lot of upside, my plan is to just hold on to it, wait for the next leg up in the NFT market. And when I feel like there's a lot of FOMO and hype in the market, that's when I'm going to start de-risking and recycling those profits on SharkyFi to earn yield on them. And by the way, if you're interested in Solana NFTs and you're interested in either flipping them or maybe making long-term investments, we started an alpha Discord dedicated to Solana NFTs. Unfortunately, we're not taking any more free members, but in the next few days, we are going to be putting up a paywall. And for the first 50 members, we're only going to charge $10 per month. And we can give you guys a free trial of 2 days. That way you can check out the services and see if it's something you guys want to commit to. So if any of that intrigues you, make sure you guys join our Discord by clicking the link in the description below. With that being said, this is CryptoOneStop signing up. I'll talk to you folks next time. Bye.